Hello everybody, Mind a Mike here. Yes, I am finally back. And here, guess what? It's actually a PC. So I have something that I am wanting to look at. Revolving around murder drones. For those of you that don't know, Murder Drones is an indie horror show here on YouTube made by Glitch Productions, which you can see right here if I scroll down. Yeah, here. All the Murder Drone stuff. So, about 2 weeks ago, YouTube showed me this video right here from Cartoon Universe. Now, I quite often watch Cartoon Universe, as especially intrigued when it came to seeing this, and I watched like the first 30 seconds of it and then decided, hey, I want to actually record this. So, yeah, this is going to be a live reaction to it. So,
they're coming straight in.
Of course, though, we're going to have the ads, but don't worry, I'll don't worry though, I will edit out the ads so then you don't need to worry about that unless I'm talking. Okay, one final thing though. I know a lot about this thing. I did have a script written to say, I'm back on YouTube, and then I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't do that. I should literally just get back on YouTube. But when I analyze something, I analyze it like, I go frame by frame, not just for transitions for the entire video. I can't actually tell you how many times I've seen each episode. Episode 6. Oh, and by the way, I found this. I found Murder Drones about 2 days after episode 6 was released. So, I've known about it for a bit. But yeah, pretty much, I'm just going to be reacting to this, say what my thoughts are, and, well, let's see what happens.
Let's talk about the theory that this isn't actually Tessa in the spacesuit on Copper 9, but instead is actually Sin in a new form. My name is Drone Cut. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned until the end of the video to see how you can win an autographed print from one of your favorite Murder Drones characters. Episode 6 opened with N, V, and Uzi running into Tessa alongside Jay and Doll.
Yeah, this is
Tessa
true.
Tessa is excited to see N and dotes on him, but we see her do rather contradictory behavior later. When Tessa goes into the camp to find...
Okay, so episode 6, Tessa said Jay watched the ship because they came in on a landing pod, I guess. And they all seemed very confused because so Tessa looks at the other drones as equals, pretty much. And so that moment right there is very contradictory to her behavior, so yeah, I get that. I'm pretty sure that the explanation for that, though, is literally just she watched her entire family get murdered in front of her by a drone. So, like, that's going to change who you are.
The elevator, she tells Jay to guard the ship, and she does so in a way that seems out of character to everyone else, and there is an awkward pause where even Jay is unsure how to react. Tessa treats her drones like family, and
well, I guess here's everything that I literally just said, so...
While the way she glomped N felt in character, I feel like it was a very easy act to put on. And I think we can see it's not truly Tessa by the way she treats the drones like Jay in the more casual moments. Tessa opens the episode by explaining that Sin disappeared, with Jay saying that Tessa straight up ran away from her. With a visual, Tessa explains that the goals of Sin were to build a special tower on Copper 9, and then get into the basement for something Tessa claims to be unsure about. The others are convinced by this reasoning, but Tessa clearly seems to be hiding something. Of course, as Tessa, this person is still hiding something, which is the supposed fate of the Earth and the necessary plans for Uzi and Doll. Later in the episode, Tessa reveals to N that the Earth was outright destroyed using a satellite feed of the Earth.
Okay, here's something that I want to say about that. So, there are 2 times that the image of Earth being destroyed is pulled up on screen. The first time, it's this image. Notice how I say image. Like, it is still image, nothing is moving. The second time you see it,
because of...
okay, so I believe that one was the still image. But the second time that you see it, everything is moving. And so, like, it's... Are we looking at a live feed or a picture of satellite imagery? So, yeah, just something very... something that that if anybody can make sense of that, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could tell me what's going on there.
Of how destructive the Absolute Solver is, Tessa feels she must destroy Uzi and Doll and anyone else infected with this Absolute Solver virus that the two seem to have inherited. But I believe the footage of the Earth itself is fake and that it probably hasn't been destroyed.
And yeah, that is a fair guess, because, like, well, as I said, it's pretty much. All right, sorry, I had to do something quick. So I don't remember quite what I was saying. So let's.
Infected with this Absolute Solver virus that the two seem to have inherited. But I believe the footage of the Earth itself is fake and that it probably hasn't been destroyed.
Yeah, that's right. That is a really good guess because, and I would agree with that actually, just because, well, in the first time, for the first show, I would agree with that since it was just a still image, nothing was moving. But then it's really hard to, like, but it's also hard to agree with it because the second time, it isn't even it's an actual video. And how would Tessa have been able to get that image on there? Because I'm pretty, if I remember correctly, she did not put anything in. I didn't actually keep track of what exactly was going on. So I was just too busy looking at the little details that actually I may have overlooked some major details. But, like, there's no way that she could have faked the video unless she plugged in a flash drive, which she might have. She might have.
I think this is just part of Sin's plan to trick the others so that she can get into the basement and get what she is really after. Tessa plays coy when Uzi asks her about the basement and Doll's involvement, claiming that Doll believes some sort of digital sickness was manufactured there and passed on to her from her parents. Tessa, of course, already knows what she intends to do to Uzi, even telling N later in the episode that he needs to be okay with that sacrifice for the greater good. When asked what she believes, however, Tessa says that she thinks Doll is right, hiding how much she knows in a very cryptic way. She talks like she is taunting Uzi and trying to scare her about what is to come.
Alright. And, so I am currently working on, like, a script to point out all the details, but I figured that I'll just point something out here. All of the disassembly drones that are broken, they're all N, V, and J. You can tell by the hair and the clothing. Like, it's all just... It's only those 3 that are destroyed in that front entrance. No other bot is there. So just something completely irrelevant to what's going on here, but I thought that I would just point it out anyway.
As opposed to just trying to avoid the conversation so that Uzi doesn't have to worry about the plans that Tessa has for her. It's in this scene that we get the first of many shots with a heavy focus on Tessa's helmet. We can't see her face in there and instead see the reflection of the drone she is talking to each time. It reminds us that we don't know who is actually under the helmet and the writers want us to know that. When revealing the fate of the Earth to N, Tessa also explains that this...
There, you could see it. So the first time, the 2 images that they showed us before were the still images, and now this,
when revealing the fate
that's
of the
the video.
Earth to N, Tessa
so
also
that's why
that this lab was...
that's why I can't, like, completely agree with that fact.
Trying to use the corrupt Absolute Solver to their advantage, but just created the witches, as Alice calls them in the episode, drones who maintain their worker persona while having access to the Absolute Solver powers. Though over time it seems they corrupt further and further until eventually they are just like Sin. Tessa goes on to explain that what she really wants is the list of names of infected drones. In this story she's spinning, it's to stop them from becoming like Sin, but if she's actually Sin herself, she may just want the list of names to find out which of the drones she could assimilate, or which one she has to get rid of.
See, and that's what I don't understand completely. So, there's a lot of controversy between whether Sin sent the murder drones to destroy anybody that could possibly have the Absolute Solver in them, so then she has no competition, or it's to raise an army of those people, because the Absolute Solver is matter manipulation, and so anybody that is destroyed can actually have their bodies rebuilt once that Absolute Solver is active. And I actually don't quite know where I stand on this. I don't think that there's enough information to actually make a good guess on whether she's raising an army or not. But if Tessa does end up being Sin, that would actually kind of prove that she's trying to actually trying to get rid of the other drones that could be there. Just because if she's looking for specifics, then she's going to be, because all the drone models that are in the show can have that virus, because they're all Sin models. And yes, Sin is just not much thought went into the name Sin, because Sin is literally the name of the drone model. So, and all Sin robots have I believe that it was a 0.007% chance of having this, of having the virus. And so if Tessa is Sin, then she would end up hoping to look for those that she can actually, that have the virus, to get rid of them. That's just how I see it. I'll explain that in later videos when I finish the script. So that will happen within the month, hopefully. Let's continue.
Uzi is perhaps the most rebellious worker drone there is, and without her, there is not much left in the way of resistance against Sin and her plans. Nori herself was able to access enough of the Absolute Solver that she saw the plan Sin had to send the disassembly drones, but still controlled herself enough afterwards to advise her husband on how to protect everyone with 3 doors. With that in mind, the more Uzi uses her powers and activates her Absolute Solver state, the more risk Sin has of Uzi returning to her normal state with enough information to defeat Sin. Now, as they get to the lower levels of...
Alright, so that, Uzi defeating Sin. So I can't actually completely agree with that, because the more corrupted it gets. So the memory sequence with N and V, episode 5, it's not Sin that's in there. It's the solver of the absolute fabric. So, and it that's how it works. The more you use the power, the more corrupted you get. But I don't see why that would give Uzi information on how to defeat Sin. If anything, that would make Uzi more like Sin. So I can't completely agree with the more she uses her power, the more she's able to defeat Sin, because in the memory sequence, it shows that it's not Sin, it is the Absolute Solver that is controlling the murder drones.
the camp, they begin to encounter the Sentinels, special robots designed to paralyze and destroy drones. Using a special flash, they can boot loop a drone, getting their programming caught in a perpetual reboot until shaken out of it by someone else. They will also straight up destroy any drone as well. Tessa claims that as a human she can control them, though she seems uncertain. She, of course, probably never encountered one before, so was only going off of secondhand knowledge, but it also felt like she was worried that the Sentinels might see past her trick to make herself seem human.
So, yeah, I would imagine that the Sentinel attacked Tessa just because the Sentinel didn't know that Tessa was a human because she's wearing the suit, because otherwise she can't breathe the air because the air is toxic apparently, and the suit doesn't do enough, which is something that I find odd. Like, the suit should not be connected to the outside world. It should just be an internal oxygen supply.
When she tries to stop a Sentinel, it bites her, with a lot of blood coming out. This is what makes the Sentinel suddenly stop, as the...
Hold on. I'm just realizing something. So the Sentinel bites her, tons and tons of blood, which is how the Sentinel, well, he's going to explain it, how the Sentinel breaks his head. But I just realized something. The suit. She's wearing she's wearing some sort of suit that helps her breathe better. But she ends up getting bit by the Sentinel, which would puncture a hole into that suit and therefore make it completely irrelevant. And yet, she's still just fine. Oh wow. Okay, I actually kind of agree with this now. Based off of that point alone. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's see where else this is going. Wow.
They aren't meant to attack the humans. My theory is that the real Tessa may be dead, or elsewise, this is just the blood of a random human that Sin put into his suit with the intent of tricking the Sentinels. But because it is just some blood and not a full human body, she was unsure this trick would work, and it didn't seem to. This is Copper 9, I imagine a lot of...
Okay, so I do have to say the trick did completely work. The little bit of blood did work. It's just that the one Sentinel was, it got corrupted. Its programming broke, and it's like, now it's thinking that it has to destroy everything. Because somehow seeing blood and smashing its head against the wall must have removed something in its programming. And that's why, like, its eyes are red. And you can see, like, none of the other Sentinels attack Tessa. Like, they only attack V right at the end of the episode, which is, and that's something else that I noticed. The boot looping thing, how that seems to work is they have to see the source of the light, because like there's no way that just when each time the Sentinels sent out that flash right at the end of the episode, V must have seen those flashes on the ground, which indicates that it's not the light itself, it's the source of the light that puts them into the boot loop. And so that I don't know how that is relevant to anything. It's just something else.
Spacesuits had to be worn, and it wouldn't make sense for the Sentinels to outright attack anything in a spacesuit.
Okay, yeah, that is a fair point. They might have just like forgotten what a spacesuit is. Maybe it might be because Tessa's not wearing a gas mask like the other workers were. Because you can see here, you can see here that they have gas masks on along with that suit, and so the Sentinels probably just didn't recognize that as that suit.
To outright attack anything in a spacesuit. especially when they seem to be there to stop the drones from doing anything that might hurt the humans, as they seem to be stationed there specifically to stop any of the Absolute Solver-infected robots from getting out of the base, instead of stopping drones from actually getting into the basement. When Tessa's blood was out, however, they auto-shut down, and Tessa would of course continue to use that to her advantage. When they make it to the elevator, Uzi and N are holding hands, and Tessa and V both act really rude to Uzi. V has a history of just hating Uzi, and they're kind of stuck in a love triangle with N connecting them, so it makes sense for her to be so mean. But that emphasizes just how weird it is that the loving and caring Tessa is being so mean to Uzi by saying, "Please don't date my robot," in such a blunt tone. Uzi rightfully feels insulted and says that N is his own person. In the flashbacks, Tessa did seem to treat him like his own person, and Tessa was so nice that even the mean Jay had to lighten her mood and pretend to be nice when she was around. After seeing what Sin is capable of, Tessa may not have any sympathy for someone corrupted with the Absolute Solver, but this is a big change from how she was first presented, doing her best to take care of Sin despite how broken she was.
That, once again, that is also before her entire family was murdered by Sin. So, she was taking care of Sin, but she also didn't know that Sin was going to destroy her entire family. So, and back to the fake body in the suit. The drones, the murder drones, in their different hands, their arms, with the different hand attachments, one of those attachments is a human hand. We've seen Bao have it, and then it's also that the hand that like the one that grabs Thad, and the one that was seen up in the corner of Cabin Fever. So the murder drones have a hand built in. So, and Sin, what I agree, Sin is definitely the one that made N and V and J, because Sin straight up says, it's fine if N is destroyed because I have backups, meaning clones. So yeah, that shows that they were not sent by J.C. Jensen at all. Also, Sin down in the corner is spelt wrong. It's S-I-N instead of S-Y-N, C-Y-N. Yeah, other than that, so yeah, pretty much, Sin does have a supply of human parts to make that blood. So.
Instead, I just think this further shows that this is Sin controlling a human-shaped suit to trick everyone into thinking that she is Tessa, because at the end of the day, that is what Sin really wanted. In episode 5, Sin is shown playing with dolls, inverting the relationship she sees in the real world where drones are the toys of the humans, so to speak, particularly in Tessa's home where they were her personal companion as opposed to just tools of service to the house. Sin wanted to become Tessa. She wanted to become the one that controlled the drones, and
so, yeah, this is the thought, but it's not, explicitly said. She's playing with dolls, sure, human dolls, but it might also just be because there is no robot dolls. Because Sin does not control the humans. Sin just murders them all. So I can't really see that as being a resemblance to Sin wanting to be Tessa, the controller of everything. Just because then why would Sin be murdering everyone then?
That's why she reshaped them for her needs and sent them to Copper 9. And now that Sin can masquerade as Tessa, she can call them her robots, something the real Tessa would probably phrase a lot more politely. With the list of names in the basement, Sin can eliminate the drones that could use those powers to stop her from completing her goals, which is the singularity event alluded to in the show. In real life, this refers to a point where technology becomes so advanced that it irreversibly changes human history and controls them.
the singularity. So I do like the pull up of the singularity, and the singularity is only mentioned once by Nori when Khan is talking to Uzi about Nori's crazy talk. How
She was always all, build doors against the coming sky demons. The singularity awakens. Look at this cool ass I can draw.
so yes, there is the singularity there. But the singularity can also link to every it doesn't just have to be technology, it can also be culture, and of course we know matter singularities, black holes. So it doesn't only have to link to technology.
In the show, however, that moment is long past, and this seems to refer to either the inevitable end, as Sin calls it, or a moment where Sin might perhaps control all the drones that remain, I think. And in fact, these two may even be connected. We've seen that the Absolute Solver, in its most heightened state, can create little warps of black holes, and with enough drones working together, perhaps this could be enough to rip open reality entirely. If the goal of the Absolute Solver is to destroy all things, controlling a mass of drones to create black holes all at once may be the way to do this. Of course, regardless of those plans, I could be wrong about Tessa here. If the world really was destroyed, she may have changed a lot, but she's just played so villainous in this episode. The show likes to trick us into thinking certain...
And this this is once again something that I'm going to link back to a lot, even though the video is only 1 minute left. But once again, her behavior to the drones might have just been completely changed due to her watching her family get killed. So like a lot of this stuff about her behavior and how she doesn't treat drones like she used to can just be linked back to that.
Things that don't turn out to be true, though, and we may see her take off the mask and be the same Tessa from before, just a little bit more mean than she seemed on Earth. Her suit really may have just stopped the Sentinels from seeing her as human, and she may not have been able to prove her identity because even in the suit, the air around her was too toxic, so she could...
But that's exactly the thing, though. Oh, you know what? Look at this. These are gloves. This is... The wrist is separate. Okay, so the blood does not matter. Oh, I thought that I had made a revelation there. I really thought that I had made a revelation. But yeah, this is not actually connected to the rest of the suit other than by that. But this looks like it's so tight that it would hardly matter. So... it might just actually end up having oxygen filters on it to make it easier to breathe. So actually, you can't actually include the her getting bit.
couldn't take it off. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you want to win an autograph print from one of your favorite Murder Drones characters, come down to our Discord server.
Alright. And yeah, this is gonna probably end it off here.
There, you can sign up with the crew bot to earn Toon tokens every time you talk in the server, or leave a comment.
Yeah, this
on
is
the video,
probably just
which
going
you can use
to
buy entries into our upcoming raffle.
Alright. So yeah, the rest of this is just promoting their Discord server, which, by the way, you can join. You can find the Discord server either, well, let's see, is it here? It is not. I'll link it to my thing. I'll link it to this video in the description. You can also go find this video in the description, so then you don't have to watch it with my with me interrupting it every 20 seconds and turning this into a half-hour long video. Dang. I am half as bad as MatPat, who can turn... Actually, he can turn a 2-minute video into a full hour. and a single image into an hour. So, yeah, I'm going to need to look into this more. This might act... The wrist thing that I was thinking of is not true, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would 100% agree. But I think that Tessa's change of behavior is mostly just that she watched her family get killed. So, yeah. That's going to do it for today's episode. I am back. And I do hope that I can still try to post weekly. I can't guarantee that with my school, because I'm taking advanced courses, which I can't really do. So, yeah. Remember, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, since I forgot to say that at the beginning. This was Mind a Mike, and I'll see you next time.